Bon dia, good morning. Welcome to the second session of the European Seminar on Private Pensions. Let me introduce the first speaker. He is Filip Chybalski. He comes from Poland, specifically from the Lodz University of Technology, and he will explain us the main characteristics of the complementary pension systems in Poland.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for invitation and giving me the opportunity to participate in this great event. Time is noticed, so we start 9:40, and I suppose my time is to 10:20, no longer. So I will try to present and explain you how the Polish pension system works today, however, with reference to the history of the changes that started to be implemented 20 years ago. It's very important for the contemporary context. So this is a brief outline of my presentation. I will start with the architecture of the system, then changes after the Great Pension Reform from 1999 were briefly discussed. Pension information to the employees and participants on the request of the organizers. It is one of the of these 4 points, as far as I remember. Funded pension, a quantitative outlook, and problems. Obviously, there are more problems than presented here. However, I find them the most important: demographics, labor market, and investment. Finally, a brief outlook of some other problems and perspectives. Yesterday, we discussed the problem of the taxonomy of pension system, because different countries use different terminology with reference to pillars. So I briefly reviewed the main taxonomies, so World Bank, OECD, and International Labour Organization, and at least in my opinion, the best reference point is the World Bank classification. So I tried to present you our pension system with reference to the taxonomy of World Bank. So zero pillar in the classification or taxonomy of the World Bank is the basic pension, non-contributory, and the goal is only to protect against poverty. So in case of Poland, we have something which is called minimum pension. This minimum pension is addressed to those who have a 25-year history of contribution periods in case of males, and 20 years in case of females. And that's one of the most important problems in Polish pension system, because the number of people who are permitted to get minimum pension on the one side will increase. However, on the other side, the number of people who will not able to get minimum pension will also probably increase. The reason is simple: more flexible labor market or agreements or on a labor market. So people do not work only on employee contract, and then to obtain the required history of 20 or 25 years of contributor periods is a challenge. So I think that it will be not only our problem, I refer to Poland, but the problem of many other countries, that the main focus of the pension system, or the main goal of the pension system, will be to protect against poverty. Obviously, the definition of a pension system, for example, delivered by Nicholas Barr, is that in the micro scale, a pension system is a tool to smooth consumption. However, smoothing consumption is a higher level of the needs, let's say. The main need, the basic need, is to protect against poverty, and this will be the challenge of next decades. The first pillar is PAYGO. In Poland, since 1999, it is notional defined contribution, so this is DC in PAYGO. Second pillar, it is very interesting because maybe some of you know that we were some of precursors, together with Hungary, who decided to introduce mandatory funded pillar. It was second pillar. Almost over 1/3 of the mandatory contribution was directed to mandatory funded pillar. However, what happened later, especially after the Great Recession 2007-2009, was a significant decrease of the role of this pillar. And today, this pillar is today open pension funds in Poland are voluntary. So open pension funds in Poland moved from the second pillar to the third one, actually. In the third pillar, we have also individual retirement accounts and individual retirement protection accounts. So these are individual pension schemes. We have also two occupational plans, occupational pension plans, and occupational capital plans. When it comes to fourth pillar, with reference to the World Bank classification, these are other, they say, non-financial form of the protection in the old age, financial or non-financial protection in the old age. However, although they call it non-financial, they include in this pillar also financial products. In my opinion, the most important products in the fourth pillar are reverse mortgage. However, it's a product of the future, and imputed rent. This is what we deal with my colleague Edyta Marcinkiewicz when realizing the project home ownership and benefits for pensioners resulting from home ownership. The most important benefit is so-called imputed rent. So this is an implicit income that a person who has own home gets, not paying for renting a home. So this is a graphical presentation of our pension system. Pillars 0, 2 are compulsory, and pillars 3, 4 are voluntary. And as you see, open pension funds, OFE, so-called OFE, moved from the second pillar to the third pillar now. Changes. So in 1999, we introduced public mandatory PAYGO NDC, or replaced public mandatory DB, defined benefit with defined contribution. Open pension funds were introduced, and as the third pillar, occupational pension plans, voluntary, were also launched. So the change to the mandatory pension system was very, very substantial and important. We replaced DB with DC, and we replaced pure public system with a public-private mix. So a direction was defined, and the goal was to develop the third pillar. We introduced the NDC formula in two mandatory pillars. The open pension fund market started working. So the next point was to develop third pillar, and third pillar was addressed to those who want to achieve a higher level of replacement, yes, of consumption smoothing, of income replacement. And the two first pillars, Pillar 1 and Pillar 2, should, that was a plan only, should elevate or protect against poverty and ensure, let's say, good replacement rate, which means income during or after retirement, not only protecting against poverty, however, giving a normal level of consumption or enabling normal level of consumption. What happened later? In the years 2004 and 2005, IKE, individual retirement accounts, were introduced to develop the third pillar. And in the year 2011-2012, we have the first retreat from the pension reform in 1999. It was after the Great Recession, the first decrease in contribution paid to open pension funds from 7.3 to 2.3. Sub-accounts were also introduced because, as you can see, the contribution paid to open pension funds were reduced by 5 percentage points, and 5% of the gross salary was directed to the first pillar, to pay-go. However, on different account, on so-called sub-account, we have two individual accounts in pay-go system. The difference is two-dimensional, let's say. The first difference refers to indexation formula, and the second refers to inheritance. In case of sub-accounts, sorry, not savings, but only accounting records, let's say, because it's only numbers, are inherited. What is very interesting, our public or national insurance institution calls sub-account second pillar. However, there are no premises to call it second pillar. It's a pure pay-go system. And why they call it second pillar? Probably mainly due to inheritance. Because the difference, as I said before, is that on the basic account, the counting records are not inherited. On the sub-account, they are. However, inheritance, I have never seen a publication in which inheritance would be a criterion to classify to a given pillar of a pension system. And in the years 2011-2012, we introduced the second individual scheme in the third pillar, which is called IGZE, so Individual Retirement Protection Account. In 2014, we introduced statutory retirement age from 60 to 67 for women and from 65 to 67 for men. However, an increase was very, very gradual. 1 quarter per year, so women would achieve a new statutory retirement age of 67 in 2040. What else? Open pension funds in 2014 lose public bonds. Public bonds were redeemed, so they disappeared, and let's say their value was recorded on the sub-account in the first pillar. You know, explicit debt was replaced by an implicit debt. Open pension funds became voluntary, and the contribution paid to them equals today 2.92 of gross salary. New investment regulations for open pension funds at least 75% of assets allocated in equities. So our pension funds are very risky, one can say. However, don't forget that the contribution paid to open pension funds is only 2.92%. So if we take a look at the whole, let's say, pension portfolio, including pay-go or other pension products, the share of savings in equities is not high. However, with reference only to open pension funds, 75% of assets makes these funds very, very risky. 10 years before retirement age, assets are gradually transferred from the second pillar, from the open pension funds to the first pillar. And at the retirement age, there are not assets on an individual account on open pension, in open pension funds. So this is so-called security slider mechanism. Yes, it is a type of security because the risk of obtaining a significantly negative rate of return in an open pension fund directly before retirement is decreased using this security slider mechanism. So actually it is the end of a funded mandatory pillar in Poland. What happened later? We had parliament election voting, and you know how to win parliament election in Poland, to promise people decreasing retirement age. So they promised and they did it. Today we have retirement age 60 and 65. So it's a very, very important and negative retreat from the pension reform, or from the step in the pension reform from 2013. 2019, launch of occupational capital plans. It's a third pillar with significant involvement of the state, who also contributes to this scheme, and with significant involvement of employers. What is the information delivered to working people when it comes to pensions? So we have personal online profile in the ZUS. ZUS is the public institution which administrates our so-called FUS, which is public social insurance institution. So you can find their information on your individual account and sub-account. So what is the value of accounting record in the first pillar? And you can also get the forecast of your pension benefit. These forecasts are very, very optimistic. So I think that this calculator has some problems with correct calculations of the forecast. I checked it directly before our meeting, and the forecasted replacement rate for me is 90%. So quite well and impossible. We have also the Polish Financial Supervision Authority, which gathers information about all the pension products in the third pillar, because we don't have second pillar. We have also PFR portal, PPK. Information on capital pension plans are delivered by this institution. However, the future is seems to be quite optimistic when it comes to the information that can be delivered to the working people. This is central pension information that has to be include all the information about pension products. So all the information concerning 0, first, second and third pillar, we don't have second pillar now, will be included, probably will be included in central pension information. And now this idea is proceeded by the Polish parliament, so it seems that next year maybe it start working. A quantitative outlook. These are assets in in the funded part of Polish pension system, starting from open pension funds OFE, and ending with PPK. So in total, we have over 2 billion złotych in these voluntary pension products. And let's take some referential points. Contribution to the pay-go system, paying yearly, are similar to assets allocated now in the whole funded pillar or pillars in Poland. Yearly expenditure on pensions in Poland are also very, very similar. And when we refer our assets in funded part of a pension system to GDP, it is less than 9%. The main reason that this level is so low is a retreat from the pension reform in 1999. I mean, making a mandatory funded part voluntary. I do not evaluate now this step, because evaluation of this step is very, very complex. I only indicate the main reason. Participants, or maybe active participants ratio, 17% in open pension funds, so only 17% of accounts have recorded any changes or any contributions paid to this account last year. In PPE, which is an employee scheme, it is over 80%. IGZE, which is an individual saving scheme, it is it is 70%. However, it's an element of tax optimization for richer people, let's say. And yearly contributions paid to funded pension products in Poland, also a quantitative outlook. So contributions paid to the funded pension system in Poland in 2021 was over 13 billion złotych. For comparison to the pay-go system, it was over 200 billion, and as mentioned before, almost 200 billion złotych are spending on the expenditure from the first pillar in Poland. So as you can see, today, funded part of a Polish pension system is actually very, very, very marginal. Problems. Before I start, let me comment briefly our approach. We mainly focus in our discussion of different pension schemes. Pay-go versus funded, DB versus DC, individual or employer pension plans, employee pension, occupational pension plans. It's very important. However, I think that these are today, in the face of demographic problem, some technical nuances. Regardless of a pension system, of its architecture, of whether we use DC or DB, or regardless of whether we use pay-go or funded, the main problem is GDP growth, because when it comes to a pension system in a macro scale, it's a tool to divide or to distribute GDP between generations. So if we have a demographic decline, and it's common in Europe, what are solutions to the problem of pensions? We need GDP growth. So we cannot improve demographics in the short run. However, in the short run, we can increase statutory retirement age. So if we today discuss about fertility, and even if it were possible to increase fertility quickly, it would give benefits to a pension system in 20 years, when these children entered labor market. The second solution is to improve labor productivity. It's, for example, a very important and serious problem in Poland. That is why I define three main problems, in my opinion. Demographics, which is an obvious problem, labor market, which is the second problem, and investment, which is the third problem. When it comes to Poland, to our demographic situation, it is not so bad. It will deteriorate. All dependency ratio will increase. It's normal. So it is unnecessary to focus on this problem. It's common. The problem is employment rate. Yes. We decrease statutory retirement age. Politicians having political goals are able to say, which is hard to comment, that we cannot lead to the situation that Polish people will work until they die. If we have retirement age 60 and 65 and life expectancy for women at retirement age over 18 years, we cannot speak things like this. It's pure populism only, yes. However, people buy this. These politicians' opinions. It's not opinions. This political game only, and retire generally as quickly as possible. So, for example, employment rate total in Poland is now over 73%, and it's a bit greater than European Union average. However, when we compare our situation to Scandinavia, to Germany, it is not so good. The Polish government is very proud of a very low unemployment rate in Poland. However, with reference to a pension system, we should use employment rate. Employment rate is crucial, not unemployment rate. Unemployment rate depends, for example, on the statutory retirement age. Yes, the lower the statutory retirement age, the lower the unemployment. It's obvious. So we should refer to employment rate, and employment rate in the age group 55-64. So these are people near retirement age, is in Poland 51.8, and it's significantly lower than in the European Union. We have noticed quite significant increase in employment rate in the age group 65 and 74. However, as you can see, it's significantly lower than in Scandinavia, for example. If I discuss with my students retirement age, I always refer to Iceland, where the employment rate in the age group 65-74 is over 30%, And then I ask them, how do you think, what is the retirement age in Iceland? They don't know, so I answer the question, it's 67. Then I ask them, what is the statutory retirement age, or what was the statutory retirement age in Iceland 20 years ago? They don't know, so I answered the question, 67. What was the retirement age in Iceland 50 years ago? 67. Labor market, once again, labor productivity per hour. Poland has 64% of labor productivity per hour as compared to European Union, to the whole European Union. So labor productivity in Poland is very, very low. And additionally, we have a serious problem with investment, especially from 2015, from 2016, because the trust to the government in Poland, business have no trust to government in Poland. Changes were so frequently, so unlogical that, it generates risk to business and aversion to invest. This is investment to GDP ratio. Red line is Poland, blue line is European Union. Look at 2013, 2015. So the European Union reported a decrease in investment after the Great Recession. However, it started increasing in 2015. However, in Poland, we still have a decrease. If we don't change the situation in terms of the business trust to government, we will have still serious problems with investment. Without investment, we will not improve labor productivity. And other problems and perspectives, politics and populism. To be honest, that point was, this presentation was completed by this point the day before yesterday. So I had all these points without the first one. However, the first one is the most synthetic one, yes? So that's the problem. Frequent change, in case of Poland, direction of further reforms is totally unknown. Systems architecture unpredictable in the long run. So if you ask me, what institution will pay my benefit when I retire, I don't know. Too low statutory retirement age, it's obvious, especially in case of women. An ad hoc method to increase adequacy. Imagine that in the period of last few years, to improve adequacy income adequacy of pension system, the government pays the 13th and 14th retirement or pension benefit to old people. However, it's a pure populism. It's a pure populism because it is not directed to poor pensioners. Everyone who is permitted to get pension gets 13th and 14th pension benefit. Decreasing replacement rates. It's also obvious, it's a common problem. Additional third pillar products do not solve the problem of possible poverty. I remember where we were introducing the Great Reform in 1999, and the main goal of the third pillar was to achieve a higher level of consumption smoothing, to achieve higher level of high replacement rate. So it was dedicated for people who are able to save voluntarily. For 5-10 years, we say to people that if you don't save in the third pillar, you will be a very poor pensioner. So politicians, and not only politicians, economists as well, say to people that today third pillar is a tool to protect against poverty. How it corresponds to the taxonomy of pension systems and to the main goals of the pension reforms. The same refers to PPK, capital pension plans introduced a few years ago. And today we know that who saves in PPK? People who work for corporates, for huge companies, mainly, and people who live in the most rich Polish voivodeships. Participation rate in PPK is 30%, and then analysis delivered by the organizer and administrator of PPK, which is run by Robert Zapotoczny. Some of you had opportunity probably to meet Robert Zapotoczny. Their statistics show that PPK will not be a product that is not a product that is used by people with low salaries. And OFE, so initially compulsory element of funded part of Polish pension system. Probably we are ahead of financial stage of liquidation of mandatory open pension funds in Poland, or generally open pension funds. So government is discussing this issue for a few years. Finally, probably open pension funds will disappear in the Polish pension system. So that's all. Thank you, and sorry for a bit different look or glance at this problem. However, I think these are the main problems of the Polish pension system, and probably not only of Polish pension system. Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Filip. And if you have some questions, yeah. No, that's you.
Mm-hmm. So you said that retirement, the legal retirement age is quite low. And do you know the life expectancy at old age, at 60 years or at 65?
Mm-hmm. For women, it is. Forgive me, I will not give you an exact number. I don't remember. It's significantly over 10, probably about 15. And for males, it is at 65. It is for women at 60, because retirement age for women is 60. It is probably 18, and for males, for whose the retirement age is 65, it is no more than 10.
Okay, thank you. And
however, let me complete this answer. In 2018, I published, it is published in Polish, the book only about the retirement age, and I proposed there a measure that refers the period of retirement, or the expected length of the retirement period, to the whole to the length of the whole life. And it is still increasing in Poland, and it is still increasing in European countries. So, you know, if we want a pension system to work in a sustainable way, we need a good and constant proportion between the working period and retirement period. If we don't increase retirement age, and if effective retirement age does not increase, this proportion is decreasing. And then we have less time to save for more time, yes? Because retirement period is still increasing.
in terms of labor market in Poland, so people age 60 or more than 60, they can get easily a job. They stay. They are still working, or
okay. So when it comes to Poland, we have a very serious problem with the supply of labor, with the supply of workers. Sorry. With the supply of workers, that is one of the reasons of inflation in Poland. So the retirement age was decreased. Some incentives to become a pensioner, for example, 13th and 14th retirement were proposed. So people generally retire as quickly as possible. And we have a very, very high salary pressure, wage pressure, and that is one of the factors, inflation factors in Poland. So generally, business has problem in Poland to find workers.
Yes, Filip, thank you very much for your nice presentation. What was interesting in your presentation is to see that you are a country where it seems that the fully funded system are a little bit decreasing even. So we have seen in Europe the last decades a lot of, let's say, pressures of the World Bank, things like that, to say, okay, pay as you go, we'll have big problems, and you have to switch for a part to fully funded solution, which was presented as the solution. And so you have shown that, in fact, in Poland, if I understand, it's a switch in the other direction, and that we move back to pay as you go. So are there reasons for that? Is this a financial crisis? Is this a mistake to do that? What is your point of view about that? Because it seems to be the other direction to other countries where we try to promote second pillar, fully funded, and you say, no, don't do that, and come back to pay as you go. So what is a little bit your reaction?
No, political approach to this problem is a bit illogical, yes, unlogical, because yes, we were the country in which the mandatory funded pension system was promoted, introduced. It was promoted by World Bank and OECD, and we implemented this system. However, after the Great Recession, it turned out that we have serious problems with public deficit, and the quick means to improve a bit the situation was to redeem public bonds that were invested, that were in the portfolio of open pension funds, and to replace this part by pay-go. However, it does not mean that we do not promote funded pension schemes, because we do, our best, let's say our best, however, we do not succeed to promote the third pillar, and third pillar consists only of funded products, yes? So I think, and the majority of economists, pension economists in Poland are convinced that the main reason to make mandatory pension system voluntary and to decrease its importance in the whole pension system was to replace explicit debt with an implicit one.
Is there any other question? Then, thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, yes, ahora le pondremos otro. Okay, let's go. Yeah. Okay, let me introduce the second speaker of this session. She's Inmaculada Domínguez. She comes from the University of Extremadura, and she's going to comment our Spanish system. Thank you very much, Inma.
Thank you. Okay, I will speak about the Spanish pension system, and this work is with my colleague Enrique de Besa from the University of Valencia. Thank you very much. I will begin to tell that in the first part I will speak about the social security pension, and this system is pay-as-you-go system. And we have, in the first pillar, we have really pillar 0 and pillar 1, because we have a part of the contributory system, and in this contributory system, we have different regimens. In the past, we have a lot of different regimens, one for the private worker and another for the self-employment, and in different worker, like worker of the in the agricultura and in the sea, they are different regimen. Now the intent is to try to make one only system for this worker, and for other hand, we have a civil servant system. In this, it's important to take account that this civil servant system never changes, and nobody really invents about this research. It's difficult to find and to understand the system, and nobody research about this, at least in Spain, and it's important to take account this point. And for other hand, we have the non-contributory system, and this system is paid by tax. This is important because for us and for our research, it's very important to take account the contributory of the system. Because at the end, we speak about the replacement rate and the another parameters, but it's important to take account the contributory of the system. Because at the end, if you pay enough money, the system is okay. And it's important to take account this information. And in the situation for now, or the system, it's important to take account the number of the pensioner in this moment and the forecast of the pensioner. We have this prediction, and around 9 million pensioners, and this is very, very important for us, for the politician, because at the end, all these people vote sure, and it's very important for our politician, the opinion of the pensioner. But in the future, because we have the baby boom like in another countries, but maybe that later than in other countries, and now we are beginning with the baby boom, and in 2015 is the provision of the pensioner is increase, and at the end 16 million pensioners. And for other hand, this is no problem if the worker increase in the same level, but it's not true. When we analyze the worker, we appreciate that the increase not is in the same volume. And like the system is pay as you go, at the beginning we can see that we have a first problem, no? Because the population is a problem in the pay as you go. And after we have a generosity system, and if we analyze, we take18account the minimum wage is around 1,000 euros, and the average wage is around 1,800 euros. And it's important to take account the contribution of the system. We have, this is the total contribution for the social security, and it's really that the amount for retirement and for another contingent is a little less. And at the end, for the retirement pension is around the middle, the 15% of this value. This is important because for us, we analyze the contributory system. And for other hand, the amount of the pension is so important because so that the average wage is around 1,800 euros, but the pension is close, is 1,400 euros. And we have another problem that we increase the pension with the CPI. And like you know, in all Europe and in Spain, in the last year, the CPI is 8.5%. And the pension increased during this year in this amount. And if you see the average wage or the minimum wage, we have the pension, the medium pension, higher than this amount. And this is a first situation like a problem. If we have another date that is very, very important, is the replacement rate. And this is very important to understand what happened with the supplementary pension, with the second and the third pillar, because At the end, it's very difficult to tell the people that if you receive around 88% of the public pension, you have to save. It's also difficult to tell this. And after reforms, as I will comment, this replacement rate decreased. And in our opinion, because we consider that it's necessary to make more and more reform, at the end we consider that replacement rate decreased around 16%. But now notice the amount. This may be a problem or no, it depends on the contribution, because you can receive a high pension, but if you pay for this pension, although you are in pay-as-you-go, may be okay, no problem. But we analyze, and I think that it will be interesting to try to analyze for the other countries, is the cost of the pension. It's a measurement that we call the cost of the pension. It's in relation with the all amount that you pay in the pay-as-you-go and all the pension that you receive in the system. And our calculus told us that if you give €1 to the system, you receive €1.74 in pension. It's really, really nice because you only pay €1 to the system and you receive a lot of money. And this is really the problem. The problem, of course, is increased with the fertility rate, with the demographic problem. It's true, but if you have in your basic a good equilibrium system and really contributory system in relation that you pay and you receive, you will have less problem than if you have a problem at the beginning. In Spain, we have a reserve fund, and this was very important for the politician because they told, no problem, the system is okay because we have an important reserve fund. But now this reserve fund is not really good, and we have an important debt, an important deficit. And this deficit, the problem is to increase and increase each year. If we analyze the population, this is mainly because we have a high life expectancy around the 3 years. We have, like in another country, this is similar low birth rate, and the problem is that our dependent ratio is 1.021, because if we have a problem with the contributory system, with the solvency, with the relation between the you pay to the system and you receive, we have a problem. And after, we have another problem in relation with the population pyramid, and at the end, we have a bad situation. And it's important, I repeat, the replacement rate and the €1 in contribution, you receive €1.74 in pension. It's a big problem. And this implies that at the end, what? Sorry.
Could you please go back? When you find that €1 contribution, €1.74 in pension, this is like a profitability index. Which interest rate do you use to compare the contributions to the pensions?
I use the same interest, the interest rate of the money.
Yes, but the contributions are made earlier. And
the contribution is the real contribution, and you use the CPI for actualize for one moment, because you calculate this contribution, valuing in one moment, and you, like we have a defined contribution system,
yes,
we know the pension, and we...
This is like an investment, right? So you have the cash flows out, which are the contributions, and the cash flows in, which are the pension payments.
Yeah.
You choose a reference date to calculate this kind of profitability index. It is a function of the interest rate.
Three?
To accumulate the contributions into...
Pero el interés es el 3, ¿no? El que cogemos, ¿no? El 2. El GDP. The increase of the GDP, because we calculate like the Samuelson tier, and we try you know, the Samuelson theory told that if your relation between the contribution and the pension is the same as the GDP, the system is solvency, okay? And we use the GDP because really we are not in the capital system.
Yes, but this is a different. But this analysis that you perform here is a return on investment analysis. So
yeah, but you can pay if you are in relation with the GDP, because the productivity is very important. It's not the market.
I know what's the problem. So rate of return is equal to GDP growth.
Mm-hmm.
However, another issue is inflation, because €1 is okay. €1 is an input, let's say, and 1.74 is an output. And the question is the output discounted or its present value? Yes. So is it a discounted future value or present value?
Is present value in the moment that is the present value in the moment that you are in retirement calculus, because you put in this moment the past of the contribution, and you have the information about the future pension, and you evaluate in one moment.
Okay, so you take GDP growth into account as a rate of return.
Yeah, we use the GDP for the contribution and for the pension to calculate. Actualizas.
Real GDP. Real.
Yes,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we try this, really we calculate our research calculus the TIR, the interest rate, but it's difficult for the people to understand the measurement, and we decided to put this information because €1 is easy to understand, and the pension €1.74 is easy to understand, and for this we try to change. We call cost for pension, coste por pensión unitaria is our name for try to evolutionate and to try that the people understand. But the first calculus is the year rate 2, because we try to apply the law of Samuelson for try to show that at the end you increase more, is the idea that we talk with it. And logical, we have a problem, a deficit problem, and you can see that after 10 years, we begin to have a deficit. It is true that in the 2020 we have more deficit, and this is logical for the COVID, but we have a problem before of this, and not only 1 year. Because deficit is logical, it's in one moment, for all, it's a problem, okay. But this problem is that we have a deficit 1 year and another and another. And this implies, logical, a big problem of the debt. And at the end, you can see the increase of the debt of Spain. And at the end, the main economic problem of Spain now is the pension, really. Because this implies that we have an important amount to the debt, and we have to find people that investment in this debt, because we have a big problem each year and each year. And you have here the projection of the and like you can see that the expenditure in public pension increase, and it's really that after 2070 this decrease, but it's in a long future. In a short or medium short time, we have a big problem. And if we analyze the private and the private occupation or private individual, you can see is a minor amount. And it's logical, like I told you. It's so difficult to tell the people that you have to save. It's really that all the research people, always we are working and tell that we have a problem, but the people receive a big pension, and it's difficult to combine that. It's important and it's necessary to save. And we have 3 reforms, and we have an important, very, very important reform in 2011. This reform is parametric reform and it's important, and I don't know if you want that we analyze for the other countries, but it's interesting to know the feeling of the people with the reform and the population, because in this reform is a strong reform, because in this we pass the retirement age. We pass from 75 to 77, and this is very hard. But do you believe that nobody told nothing? Here, the Spanish people, if you saw, nobody told nothing about this. This is strong and very important. It's 2 years. No happened nothing. This another important parameter change is the reference weight. We use the last 15 years, and after we pass on 25 years, and this is very, very important. I would like to tell that in this year that you see the new reform, the government tried to increase 5 years more, for 25 to 13, but impossible to say. And it's funny to think, how is possible that in this year, 10 years, no problem, and now impossible to change? Why? I don't know really. It's interesting to know. Yesterday we speak about the factor de sustainability in Portugal. Well, I remember when I studied the first time this, I thought, oh, it's nice, and no problem in Portugal. It's appear okay. And what happened? Why the people don't tell nothing in this? And for example, in France, they have a big, big problem for the anticipate age. No, it is interesting to analyze. For other hand, we in this reform, they changed the years to take account for to have 100% of the pension, and they introduced the sustainability factor. And the effect of this is logical. At the end, is decrease the pension, because this reform is true that is a big transition period. It's a good point to try to make a reform. It's true that the reform was made for the with all the government and all the politicians. It's a good point to try to understand. But after, if we the effect logical of this reform is decrease the pension and decrease the replacement rate. Here you can see different possibilities, different scenarios of the behavior of the parameter, but at the end, in all of them, you can see in black the current system before the reform, and in another representation, you can see the effect of the reform. Logical, decrease the replacement rate, because at the end, you introduce more years in your calculus, the retirement age is bigger, and logical, the replacement rate decrease. But no so problem, the people is happy and okay with this. And after 2 years after, the government decided to speak with different experts and make a technical reform. And in this reform, it was, for me, is the best reform. And Enrique was in this reform, and for this is the best reform. No, but it's true. It's a technical, for the point of view of the research, is perfect reform, because it's a mechanism, automatic mechanism. And this is nice, because it's, with this, we are free for the government and for the politician, and it's the best. If the system is not fine, the mechanism imply to change. And in this reform, they seek the sustainability factor, and they make the pension revaluation, change the revaluation of the pension. It's true that it's the first time in Spain that the reform implies at the pensioner. All of them, the before reform and in the past, always is in relation with the contribution and with the calculus for them my future pension, but not in the pensioner. And this is a big problem, to make some reform for the pensioner. And you can see, like France, it's Spain, not France, this photography. But it was really, really important. And at the end, all the government, all the politicians decided that this reform disappeared. And I would like, if you want, to analyze this type of feeling of the people and with the different reform and the effect of the population about it, because it's important. Because if you, at the end, it's possible to know what is the best reform that the people receive, is a good point to try to make, no? Because at the end, I think that this reform is the best, is equity, is contributory, is technically perfect, but the people don't like nothing. And the another was okay for the people, no problem with this. And after now, we are in a special moment after the COVID, all is possible. And in this case, we appreciate that in 2022 and 2023, we knew a new system, a new model of reform. In this reform, the government decided two things. Increase income is okay, it's logical, but at the same time, increase cost. It's difficult because always when you decided to make a reform, you can think, okay, I can try to increase the income or to reduce the cost. No, all in the same. And at the beginning, we have, because this is an important question too, what happened with the European Commission? Because we always, in Spain at least, we listen that the money that we receive of the Commission, it depends of our economic situation, logical. And like I saw, the pension generate an important debt. And the logical will be that the Commission told, be careful, you can make a reform, but not a reform will increase the cost. You have to reduce the cost because you have a big problem, and the problem that increase is time. But I don't know why, at the end, the Commission is agree with this reform. And at the same time, the trade unions was completely agree with the reform. And only the research and the banks and the economic people told that we have a big problem with this reform. And I am completely sure that we have to change because it's not support this type of reform. And this is in relation with our system, public system. And now I would like to speak about the second and the third pillar. The first idea that I want to see is how is the Spanish people safe. And here is a long period of time because it's the time when the pension plan and the complementary system began in Spain, to try to see graphically what happened with the amount that the people, how the people decided to save. And you can see that is a small amount that the people save in product directly for the pension. You see in green the life insurance and in orange the pension plan. You can appreciate that at the beginning there are a lot of money in the deposit, and it's true that after financial education can make that this change and more people try to investment in bonds and in mutual fund. But we have an important amount in deposit, and you can see that bigger than the amount that the people descend to the specific product, mutual funds, life insurance, and pension plan. This is the first idea. And after, like I told you, we have an important replacement rate. It's difficult to save. But for other hand, we have a lot of possibility. And it's so difficult sometimes to see what product is the best. And at the same time, we have a long name of the product. And this is a problem. So I think that another point to analyze for the country is the communication. The communication for the information of pension plan, social security, but another time, the name and we have to try to make easy to understand. And for us from Spain, I am sure that Normal people, no economic people, it's impossible that they know the individual long-term saving insurance, systematic individual saving plan. Oh my God, and this name is no commercial name, it's legal name. Because if commercial, maybe, no, the legal name is really difficult, and it's normal that the people have a difficult situation if they try to save for the retirement. It's difficult to understand what is this. Well, there are a lot of name and a lot of information about the too much for my situation because I don't need, because I have a good public pension. And this is difficult to combine and the people that is necessary to save. And it's important, I would like that you see this graphic and the follow graphic. In this graphic, you have the amount that the people save for the individual point of view, for the individual level, okay? If you see in the graphic, it's from 0 and 215 million euros. And you have in this, the first idea of this graph is the evolution is increase a little, the amount that they save, and the most important amount is the pension plan and the individual insurance for capital and for annuity. Is the first, but so this and now, so this is the same graphical in the same amount, but this is the amount that the people save in the occupational level, okay? It's the same, you can see the same amount, it's the same graphic, but logical, you can appreciate that the complementary, the occupational is a small level in relation with the individual save, okay? And in this, the most important, again, is the pension plan and the occupational pension issue, but it's really different graphic, one and another, the occupational and the individual. The occupational will be the second pillar and the individual will be the third pillar.
And the green part is only for the Basque Country?
Yes, but the Basque Country is APCB, is the green. You see?
I mean that the green part is only for the Basque Country?
Yeah.
There is two of them, yes. And
Yeah.
And they also have a big problem there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
The taxation is really encouraging the individuals to take a lump sum and not an annuity, so they are very worried.
Very worried about that because they are.
With the Basque governments as well. They will organize something in November about this issue.
And it's true that she speaks because we have in the Basque Country, it's important to understand that the development of the industry is different in Basque Country and, for example, in my place that is Extremadura. And why this is important? Because in this part of the trade union have a big power, and they are combined of the interest of the occupational level. And for this, they seek and specific. And they have a regulation, fiscal regulation different. But it's true that they are really have a big problem because the people prefer or decided to receive the lump sum in relation to the annuity. And now I have such information that is logical too. I will show now why it's difficult to ask the people that they receive an annuity with the amount that they have at the end.
Compared to the rest of the country, the Basque Country is
the best.
better because they have these occupational pension plans for the civil servant. But if you look into that, they are not so perfect, and there are a lot of fights regarding the lump sum, regarding to the taxation, regarding to the employees paying contributions that sometimes they are not paying, it's the employer. Also, the amount of the contribution is very small, so there are a lot of fights because they really want this to make it grow, but the Basque government is really stopping that.
Yeah.
So.
And they are in the best situation, and they are historical and mentalities. But now, yeah, I know. And you know that Geroa is the best, but the another is not so good. Yeah, it's bigger. Because at the end we have, I think I am convinced that we have to analyze the people too, the feeling that the people receive with the information, because in the Basque country that it was the model, they have a problem because the people want to receive in capital, not in annuity, and it's...
I think everybody, if you ask them,
Yeah.
what do you want to resell lump sum? Everybody will say a lump sum. But the problem is that we definitely don't need to give the individual an opportunity to decide. Because it's about the future, and this is, we need to make sure that the individual will receive a life annuity.
In the new regulation, I will comment now, is only in annuity. They try to...
Something that I wanted to say about that is that, of course, if you give the choice, people will be choosing a lump sum. But in some of the more behavioral economics strand of literature and things that I've done myself for the Netherlands and Australia, we've looked at framing, and we've looked at actually asking people, what is it the product that you preferred? And one thing that you need to do is not say the word annuity, because annuity has bad connotations. But if you kind of highlight the good parts of the annuity, you say, well, you have a regular stream of payments, they protect you against lifelong, against longevity. Of course, you have to say it in layman's word, but that actually increases the popularity, at least in stated choices experiments that we have done, quite substantially. So there's really a lot that can be done through, like you mentioned that already, and some of you as well, in communication, in how you frame things, and certainly there's a lot of things which have been done in the US about that. So then I think we should, of course, I say it because I'm biased, because I've done some research on that, but then it's certainly something that needs to be done on the pension area. Behavioral economics has a lot to teach us about that part, and sometimes we just overlook it because we like the technicalities of the quantitative research, but there's really a lot to be done on that, and that's everything that I want.
Yeah, because we have to take account the fiscality is very important, the literacy, financial education is very important, but the conductual, the behavior is very, very important. And we, at the end, this is a big problem with a lot of parts and we have to try to see in global point of view with all. And so this graphic is very, very important, because you can appreciate here that the 17% of the population without retirement saving product in Spain. It's logical, but it's the situation. And the red is the amount, and this amount is during all the time. I try to show a series of the date to appreciate the feeling, not in 1 year. And if you see, we finished in our presentation just before the COVID, because I will try to show what happened when we are normal, not after, because you know that this year is now different. And this is a situation, it's the situation of Spain. This amount, these people don't have saving product. And we have an important, like Carmen, I told you, this is a situation that I can understand, that if at the end, the amount that you have after you pay your system, at the end you have around this 15,000 euros, at the end this is nothing. It's normal that the people decided to receive in capital and to buy a car or to make reparation at house. It's normal, because it's what money it is. It's really ridiculous. At the end, the feeling that the people have is, okay, I pay for the pension plan, and at the end, when I receive, it's nothing. It's logical. If you don't pay, it's normal. It's normal, but it is logical. But the feeling that you have with this is nothing, and at the end, you if you don't pay,
it's not logical if on the public system you receive 1.74 for one. So investing one for one is not logical.
No, it's funny. If you listen,
it's not reasonable.
It's funny because if you saw the survey that the people make in relation with the public system, they are very worried because they consider that the system is not so good, and the government needs to give more money about this. No, it's true. I can show. At the end, we have to think what happened because the people think this. Why?
The contributions of 32%, are they specifically, is that specifically for pensions, or does this include also health?
More.
So it's more than 174.
For the pension award thing, because it's not clear, because at the end you have in your salary, you are together. It's an important point too.
Yes, so it is more than 174.
Very, very important to know what is for disability, what is for employment, it's separate, okay, in this amount. We estimate around 15% of 16, more or less. We consider that is the amount that is for the retirement, because really is, or we name is contingencias comunes, is all in the same payment, and this is a problem too. It's important to have. But in the private part, this is the amount that the people that have. And in Spain, it's very important to take account that a lot of people have a house. And this is important because the government incentivizes when you are in retirement age, if you sell your house and you take an annuity. You have an important fiscal advantage, and this is a good point, because it's a possibility to sell, because a lot of people have two houses, not only one, in another place. And it's a good point to do, because the hipoteca inversa, I don't know if you know the product, is not so good here in Spain. At the end, the people prefer to sell but not to use this product. Is difficult, this. And another question that I would like to show is the structure of the pension plan in Spain. Why I explain this? Because it's important to understand that in Spain, the 99% of the companies are small companies. Okay, this is very, very important. No, we haven't a big company. No, a small company. A small company like a restaurant, a bar, with a small employee worker. And why I speak about this? Because the structure that we need for the pension plan in the occupational part is very complexity. Why? Because I don't know in our country really, but we have the product that is a pension plan, and it's necessary in this product to have a plan control committee. Imagine if you only have 2 workers and you are the employer, at the end the committee is what? It's a little difficult, okay? And all the pension plan, after you have the product, the pension plan, you have the pension fund. And in this pension fund, at the end, you have a fund control. It's good because it's with different pension plan, and at the end, we can see 6 persons. It's good for to have another committee. It's too much structure for the product for a small company. And after, they need, of course, because they have a fund, and we need a management entity and depository entity. And we have to pay this. Okay, and we have a fee for the management and for the depository. I show this because it will be important now, okay? But this is it's true that it's for security, because this is for the supervisor, consider that this is the best, but really this structure is for a big company, not for a small company that we have in Spain. And the type of pension plan here is individual, occupational, and associate. Why tell you? if we saw the number of the pension, we appreciate that we have the similar names, numbers of the pension of occupational and individual. Pension plan, number of pension plan, no people, no amount, number of pension plan, okay? Is the evolution. At the beginning you see in the 25, because in this moment there are a new regulation that it will be necessary to go outside of the money that you have in the company for the pension, and for this is the increase, and after you can see that no evolution. And the associated is like a pension plan for the trade union, for a collective of engineering, professional, no occupational, yeah, professional is, and is no very important. What is another important information? If you see here, in blue you can see the people that have in individual, and in red is the collective. Okay, you can see the difference. There are a lot of more people have an individual pension plan that the people that have are inside collective pension plan. Okay, and if you see the amount, the contribution that you have, you see the important evolution in 25 for the reason that I told you, and you can see that the blue is the individual and the red in the collective. For this, the last show that more people in individual than in collective, and now you can appreciate that more money, you contribute more in the individual than in the collective. Not so much, but more amount in the individual from in collective pension plan. And what happened in the pension plan? This, in relation with the amount that you have, the contribution, you appreciate that the employer is make the effort, the amount that the people, the worker, pay for the system is less. You can show those close to 1,000 euros for the employer, and the worker is really ridiculous again. Okay, the people prefer. The first feeling is that the people want to make in individual. And this is the portfolio structure of the pension fund. For to see at the beginning, we saw that fixed income national and the evolution, and at the end is more dynamic the investment in pension fund if you want to analyze this. This is important to know what happened with the return, because remember the amount that I told you in relation with the pension public, €1, and you receive a lot of money. What happened in the private? You receive around, in this period, 2% of return. But don't forget that you have to pay the fee. ¿Estamos mal de tiempo? Un poquito, ¿no? Bueno. Okay. And this is another problem of this. And now the government decided to change. They saw we have a big problem because the people what want the people. The people prefer to investment in individual, not in collective. It's so difficult to make the collective because the structure is so difficult. And when you have the occupational, the employer pay, but the worker don't want to pay. And they decided to make a new, and they make, okay, it's so difficult, the structure that I saw before, and we can make a regulation that make a new product, simplify occupational pension. In this, they want to offer a product that is easy for the self-employer, for the public sector, for the collective. Not necessary that in your company you make a pension fund. Is enough. I work in the service, in the hotel, it's possible to go and this simplify pension. It's not necessary that my employer make a system. Because do you remember that was really, really difficult to make this structure. And they decided to incentivize or don't incentivize the amount that you have to pay or to put in your pension plan. Why? Before 2021, when we are normal, before the COVID or before in the past, it's possible in Spain to reduce and to make because we have, if you have the possibility to give the amount, you have the possibility to reduce in your tax, and it's the same amount, is independent if you decided to go to individual or to collective. It's free. You can decide it where you put your money. But after 2021, they told that it's impossible to give more money to individual plan than 1,500 euros. They limit. It's a good idea. All the people want one product, I limit this product. Why? If the people decided to go this product to individual, but they decided, no, it's not a good idea. I limit this amount, and you, if you want to go to the collective occupational system. But what is the problem of this? That it's necessary that the employer pay too. And we have a big problem now, because imagine in this situation with the increase of the salary, with the CPE, and all the people what ask to the employer, increase my salary. I don't want my pension. I have a problem now because I have a CPE increase each year, and we have a big problem. And for our regulation, it's not possible to auto-enrollment. It's not possible. You have to decide if you want, but I cannot decide it for you. It's not possible because the Constitutional told this. And this is the main idea that the government have about this. And what is the consequence of this? That the amount on this product decrease, because if after 2021 you have a limit, it's impossible that you give your money on this product. And the future is that in the occupational, the people decided, on the trade unions and the employer decided to give money for this product, but it's not the best moment in this situation. Now it's so difficult, okay? And, bueno, Mercedes, ¿tengo que parar ya? ¿Te parece? ¿Sí? Bueno, y the art is about the cost, bueno, and I would like, although somebody speak about this after, but I would like, and I think that is a good opportunity to work together in new ideas and not traditional pension saving product. I think that is a good point to take account too, for incentivize the feeling and the good feeling for to save, because at the end I think that is the main idea of this product is to feel after the time that is possible for you to save. Is to have the feeling that it's possible to save. Is in another sense, and with the idea that at the end you have a small money and it's not enough for nothing, and at the end you decided to receive in capital because in annuity is nothing. Okay, this is ya para el retiro. Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Imma. It has been a good exposition. And if you don't mind, we don't make questions now. We can speak about during the coffee break. Yeah, thank you very much.